QPR exited the FA Cup at the third round for the 52nd time, the most of any side in the competition's history, after blowing a 2-0 lead, losing 3-2 to Bournemouth. I wasn't there this time because I refused to pay the appalling entry fee, but as usual, let's discuss the result. Bournemouth were heading to Loftus Road at the top of the Premier League form table for the past 10 games, having won 7 and drawn 1 of their last 10 Premier League fixtures. With no upcoming Premier League matches for the Cherries until the 21st of January, I wouldn't have been surprised to see a stronger starting lineup here, but Arola still made 7 changes to the side that lost away at Spurs last weekend, though Dominic Solanke was thankfully completely rested and not on the bench. Still, the likes of Tavernier, Senesi, Sinisterra and Cook all retain their places in the side, and even a weakened Bournemouth team is one that I would expect to beat QPR comfortably. Now, to my surprise, Marty Cifuentes' team featured a lot more of the regular starting 11s than I expected it to. 8 of the players that started against Cardiff played against Bournemouth yesterday, with Morgan Fox coming for Jake Clark-Salter, Armstrong for Powell with Lakesh moving to left back, and Drew for Cannon. With the rate that Marty chops and changes the squad, I'd imagined he wanted to use this as an opportunity to rest a lot of his starting 11, especially with the crucial home run-in of Watford, Millwall and Huddersfield to come this month. I'd fully expected us to utilise some of the youth that have been appearing on our benches in recent matches, and did think to not even rotate the keeper. In fact, I don't think there was a sub-keeper on the bench. It just seemed quite bizarre. Anyway, despite making those 3 changes, this still didn't look like a strong side. And once again, the omissions of both Chair and Willock offered no creative solutions on the bench. Now, it looks like Bournemouth were pretty wasteful in that first half. They had the opportunity to lead the game just 2 minutes in, with Tavernier's cross to the back post met by Kiefer Moore, but his header was blocked on the line by Morgan Fox. The Cherries regularly attacked down the left, with Sinisterra, Billing and Alex Scott all having their own efforts, but struggling to get them on target. Bizarrely though, we weren't without our own chances. Bournemouth were playing such a high line that we regularly had space for our strikers to exploit. Dizelle placed a glorious ball into the box for Dykes, but that went just over his head. But he threatened the goal soon after with another header, this time connecting with Smith's ball in from the right wing. Armstrong also had 2 of his own efforts saved, and to the surprise of all Rangers fans, it would be Sinclair that would open the scoring. The move started with Lakesh pumping the ball down the left wing, and Armstrong drifting out from the centre to come and collect it. Soon enough, his trademark surge of pace had Senesi clutching on for dear life, cut into the box, and with the keeper coming out to him, neatly tucked the ball into the back of the net. An excellent finish, his first goal at Loftus Road, and his second of the season after scoring against Cardiff back in August. Seeing us go 1-up was just the ultimate what the hell's going on moment really. A team bereft of goals scoring in open play against a Premier League side, in front of a half-empty stadium. And if that wasn't weird enough, 2 minutes later we did it again. This time with Sam Field pumping the ball from midfield into that same left-hand pocket, and Lyndon Dykes fancying a go from the exact same angle. The weirdest thing of the lot is after cutting the ball back in the box, he took a shot with his foot for the first time since November. And believe it or not, from that shot came a goal. Alright, it did have the luck of hitting Aaron's on the way in, but they all count. Soon after, the half-time whistle came, and like many, I was wondering what the hell was going on at Loftus Road. Now, taking those goals out of the context of the full-time result, you have to hope that these are going to be crucial for inspiring confidence in both of our strikers. For Dykes, he simply doesn't do what he displayed here regularly enough, and I hope that's proof to him that it works and that he should be doing it more. With Armstrong, we've seen him excel down that left-hand side before. Part of me wonders if he's actually just a winger after all, and I'd like to see us deploy him there more often. He's not a target man, but he can be so dangerous in those kind of spaces, especially when he's got space to run into. His goal reminded me a lot of Bright Say Samuel actually. The most notable thing for me though is that we played a pair of strikers and it really worked in that first half. We're a team that doesn't score enough, so we need all the firepower that we can on the pitch. I said in my Cardiff post-match reaction that without Chair and Willock in the side, I thought we should have started the pair of them up top together in that game. But hang on, before I get too carried away, we've got a second half to talk about here. And are you really a QPR fan if you didn't see this one coming a mile off? Arola, presumably absolutely furious that he conceded 2 goals in one half to a team that had scored 2 goals in their previous 7 matches, summoned 2 of his other first teamers to the side for the second half, with Cloyver and Christie coming on. And it would take just 3 minutes of the second half for QPR to start to shit the bed. For the third goal that QPR have conceded in a row, it came, of course, from a corner. It doesn't matter how you take the corner against QPR, it's pretty much as good as a penalty. The ball was played low and fast to the near post, flicked onwards to the edge of the box, and Tavernier Tavernier was left free by Armstrong to run in and rattle a deflected shot off into the back of the net. Interestingly, despite his praise for Armstrong's goal, Cifuentes called him out as the player that dropped his marker. I think this is the first time that he's attributed anything close to blame of a player in a post-match interview. I wouldn't say that his tone was overly critical, but it's interesting that he's called him out, but not any of the defensive or keeper errors of the last few weeks. Maybe it's a tactical choice, maybe he knows that he can get better out of Armstrong and that's the way he's calling it out. But I thought it was interesting to note. Anyway, once Bournemouth got that first goal back, it was absolutely one-way traffic. This was the polar opposite to the first half. Despite having 7 shots with 5 on target in the opening 45, QPR did not register a single effort on goal in the second half. On 57 minutes, Sinistera and Tavernier forced a double save from Begovic before the ball was deflected out for another penalty. Corner. And once again, for the 4th goal in a row, QPR conceded from another corner. Kiefer Moore rising at the near post and heading into the space once again left open by Begovic, who just like Cardiff completely misread the flight of the ball. Now I said last week that I wasn't going to single players out in that video because the reality is they all aren't good enough and it seems pointless to tie yourselves in knots over these individual errors. But with that said, I need to talk about Begovic again. I'm getting pretty sick of watching this guy, to be honest. He's supposed to bring experience and leadership into this side, and yet again he's leaving us exposed at a corner. I personally think with the importance of the games coming up, we're getting to territory where you could make a case for him being dropped. Some of these mistakes are almost Joe Lumley-esque. For as many good stops as he makes, he regularly undoes his hard work with cheap and costly mistakes. That's now 10 out of 15 goals on Cifuentes that we've conceded from a set piece. Conceding just 5 from open play is an excellent record, but what do we actually do on the training ground to keep conceding the same kind of mistakes? To have such an obvious weakness for teams to exploit is pretty terrifying, to be honest. Bournemouth, of course, would seal the comeback on the 69th minute, with Philip Billing leaving Jimmy Dunn on his arse, cutting into the box, playing it low across the line, and Kluivert smashing it into the back of an empty net. Poor defending all around, but once again, look at Begovic's positioning. It took Bournemouth just 24 minutes to undo our lead, and as I say, there were no QPR efforts to talk about. Now, don't get me wrong, we weren't going to beat a Premier League side with this team, especially one that was always going to come out at us after that first half, but to throw away that lead so cheaply, and to offer up such a drastically poorer half than the first, that's exactly why we are where we are in the league, and it's exactly why we're going down. We did bizarrely seem to be insistent on playing the ball out of the back, which is just suicide against a Premier League team, especially after those long balls into the channels really worked in that first half. You only have to look at the substitutions we made with the likes of Adoma and Kukai coming on to see that we never stood a chance of getting back into this. And sadly, this just isn't surprising anymore. Worst FA Cup 3rd round record, the worst team in England over the past 10 years, and all for the bargain price of £25. I'm not even really disappointed, to be honest, but I feel sorry for the people that did go to the match. You've seen some people question Marty once again, which just seems bizarre. This loss once again is just a symptom of a terrible tenure of bad ownership. The only positives I can take from this match is that our strikers scored goals, and for both of them that should instill some confidence. The important thing for me now though is that they need to be starting together. We can't be seeing Armstrong in dribs and drabs. He's got to be starting weekly, and Dykes plays much better in a pair. They're all we have and we need them on the pitch together in the league. Marty was probed about new signings in an interview with BN Sports after the match, and whether he'd asked the board for new players, and to me his response has more or less confirmed that we're probably not going to be getting anyone in. He said he'd made a clear assessment of what was needed when he arrived, and that managers always want more, but that it's all about getting the best out of the squad that he has. So if we do any business this month, I would be very shocked. Anyway, on to Watford next weekend. I'll have my match preview up this week for that, so make sure you check that out. If you've enjoyed the video, please do like and subscribe, and if you have any thoughts, let me know in the comments below. See you next time. Cheers.